Joining me now for this month's update on all that SOS is doing, backed by popular demand, spokesperson Dave McDowell and the mayor of Sodas Point. Dave, how's the summer been treating you?
Summer's been beautiful. We've had a lot of sunshine, a lot of warmth, and not much rain.
All right, love that shirt you got on. You're looking a little tan, like you got some time out on the boat. I want to talk to you first of all about the really prestigious award that Sodas Point is getting for beach restoration. Tell me about how that came about and how Sodas Point was basically put in the same league as the likes of Waikiki Beach and other major beach restoration projects around the country.
We essentially did it in two phases. First, we brought in a bunch of sand and then let it rest over the winter with some sand fences up, just temporary sand fences up. We also got to see how it blew around and how it didn't blow around because it was a little larger grain than the sands that are naturally on the beach. And then we did the second tranche of the project, brought in more sand, put permanent snow fencing up, and also planted thousands of beach grass plants. So over time, as the beach grass continues to grow, it will collect the sand, it will continue to spread, and hopefully the beach will at some point be entirely green with most of the sand fences pretty much buried.
This award is going to be given to you in person, I believe, next year in March.
Yeah, in March, they have their annual conference, and that's where they hand out these awards. And hopefully I can be there, the consultant can be there, and maybe even members of the beach advisory crew.
I guess I want to drill down, Dave, on what this means to you as mayor of Sodas Point and to the work that Save Our Sodas has been doing to really elevate the conversation about climate resilience, coastal resilience, and making sure there are natural solutions to protecting the waterfront as well as the water levels.
Historically, the way to make shorelines resilient has been with steel or with rock. And there's been a big push by a lot of environmental groups and by the New York State DEC to move toward more natural shorelines. Now, when we had the floods in 2017, we watched natural shorelines in the bay just simply go away. But there are places where natural shorelines in fact work, and there's ways to actually do that. And this beach was one of those locations where it made a lot of sense to do this. So in some ways it's a demonstration project for other beaches around, but really it's just doing the right thing in the right place.
Very cool recognition for Sodas Point, New York. I want to move on now to the work that SOS is doing on the key problem that everybody's talking about in Sodas Point, which is the low water issue. Bring us up to speed on what we can expect over the rest of the summer on water levels and what SOS can do about it.
They're below the long-term average, and they will continue to be probably through the beginning part of next year. And unless we get a lot of snow and a lot of rain next spring, it's likely that we will have low water next year. How low, what that actually means, time will tell. Right now, things that have been under a lot of water in the bay for the last several years while we had high water are now becoming exposed, and obviously boaters will hit them to be reminded.
Not a good way to be reminded at that. What can SOS be doing about this problem? I mean, some of it is, of course, Mother Nature, but you have some thoughts on what SOS can do?
Yes, and it's really continued to work with the IJC and their GLAM committee to make adjustments to Plan 2014. Plan 2014 uses a 12-month look back when they set the outflows. All the other Great Lakes other than Lake Ontario are still above their long-term average, not by much. They're much closer to their long-term average than they have been in years, but they're still above, and we're below. So that clearly tells us that Plan 2014 is out of balance with the rest of the Great Lakes. Right now, the outflow is about 1,000 cubic meters higher than it was last year when we had high water. it should probably be 1,000 meters per second less than last year's level. But the 12-month look back is forcing it to be artificially high. I would argue there is a 6-month forecast that NOAA puts out for weather. That should be part of the equation.
So Dave, I guess I'm wondering, given that this is a really long process, what can SOS be doing now with the control board? We've got some new members coming in because of the administration change to help better adjust the outflows and the inflows in the short term.
The control board needs the approval of the IJC commissioners for a deviation. So the chairperson of the US delegation has resigned, and there's a new chairperson that's incoming. We need to reach out to him, help him get to know us as we get to know him. But really, we need to convince the commissioners in both nations to request or allow the control board to do a major deviation. And hopefully they can use recommendations from GLAM to make that major deviation and maybe try out a different kind of look back.
So what's your guidance to people that live in the village, that have waterfront property, that have boats, that are seeing way more of the shoreline than they have in recent years? You have some thoughts on that as well?
Take the opportunity to enhance your shoreline. If you have a hardened shoreline, make sure that the foundation and the base of it is in fact in good shape. Now's a good time to add some rock in front to help break up the wave action and minimize the undermining of a hardened structure. If you have a natural shoreline, maybe you can extend it and plant some stronger plants with deeper roots that will help stay there even when they get underwater, whenever we have high water again, and we don't know when that will be. We used to have a 20-year cycle. We don't know under this plan what the cycle will be. And part of that cycle is Mother Nature, but part of it's the plan as well.
And what about docks? Many people have standing docks that are really just too high for the low water right now, but others have floating docks. But are there enough floating docks?
We absolutely need more floating docks, and it would be great if some of the dock installers could make recommendations to people on really good floating docks. A lot of people have put in permanent docks to match the high water levels. They love their permanent docks because they're very stable, but now you have to jump down into your boat or have a ladder to get out of your boat in some cases. So if we had stable docks that were floating docks, as people needed to replace their docks, they would be able to do that. And we have to remember that the Storm Act is likely to become real in New York State next spring, and money from that could be used by homeowners and other property owners to change their docks from stationary docks to floating docks.
Okay. Well, a meaty update from you for this. We are already in August, so thank you for that August wrap up. Dave McDowell, spokesperson for SOS and mayor of Sodas Point. Thanks again.
Thank you. Take care.